the car show, Wisconsin's Hot Rod Radio.
Hey, welcome to Wisconsin Hot Rod Radio. I'm Captain Bob.
And I'm Marlo.
And here we are on the Fonz FM and AM2.
I was busy on the controls here.
Okay.
I missed my cue.
That's for sure. So we are the voices to all the hot rodders out there and all the car people, that's for sure.
We sure try.
Yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed that interview we did last week with Bruce Larson.
Yeah.
And also, to our special sponsor, Bob Bennett.
Bob Bennett. Yeah.
Now, Bob Bennett was actually live. We did that.
Right.
But Bruce Larson was a recording we did at Iola.
The Iola interviews, Bob called in, and it's fun to always talk to Bob. So go back and listen to that show because he's always got some real interesting projects they're working on, but he's got some good, interesting viewpoints as well.
He would not talk about the electric vehicles. We heard that right away. So I know the gas enjoyed that one because he went, he's not for the electric vehicles.
No.
So, but he's all about horsepower. That's what he wants.
And speaking of horsepower, Bruce, the funny car, USA 1. Mm-hmm. Go back and listen to it. It's very, very cool to talk to him because he's very knowledgeable. Very smart on things. Yeah.
Good interview.
Yep.
So later today, we're going to be doing the interview here at Iola with Don Garlitz.
Yeah.
Now, a little funny thing we'll just kind of kick off here. We won't get into a certain other thing, but he kind of, when we were at Iola.
Are you going to tell that?
Well, when we were at Iola, we have time slots set up for everybody. We tell them to come on up here. We need to do this.
Oh, that you're going to say. Okay. I thought you meant
and so Don came up. They brought him up with a golf cart. Yeah. And Don called me over and he said, Captain Bob, get over here. And I walked over and he goes, he put his arm on me and he said, I'm going to tell you right now, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That's all I'm going to give you. He said, 10 minutes. I went, no problem, Don. He goes, no, 10 minutes. You don't understand. I'm away from my booth.
Yeah.
And he said, people are there to see me and they're not going to see me. And I'm selling T-shirts. I can't sell T-shirts because I'm over here. Yeah. And no problem, Don. 10 minutes. Well, Don came over, put the headsets on. We started the interview. 45 minutes later, he left.
Yes. And I got to tell you a story. I ran into Jack Olson from Olson's Auto Exchange in Stoughton. He was standing next to the golf cart, and he heard Don. He was telling me this past when we were at Jefferson a couple of weeks ago. He said, I heard Don Garlitz go, I got to get out of here. And he goes, he was there 45 minutes.
Yeah. He enjoyed talking, and it was a great interview.
I'll tell you, man, he is... you're going to hear in the interview, he's really with it, too. I mean, this guy, we went out to eat with him, and he got up when he got done eating, and he just walked the little town of Iola. Yeah. Just kept going. Yeah. He's always moving.
The funny thing about, too, and you'll hear that in the interview, but I kind of mentioned at one point that he was the innovator of safety issues to keep other drivers and everybody safe because of some of the things he created.
I liked his answer.
And he grabs my arm and he goes, I didn't do it for other drivers. I did it for me.
Yeah, I don't want to die.
So, again, hopefully you'll
hear that in the interview.
That's for sure. So, once again, we've got our issue here right now. This is the December.
We have issues.
We got issues. December issue. Ooh, that means winter, cold, Christmas. But this is the Collectible Automobile book.
Yeah.
And, again, it's a cocktail book. Cocktail table book. They got a great article in here. The transformation of the 1960 to 62 Dodge Darts, which really some cool articles on those Dodge Darts. They did a great job on there and some great pictures in here. Some ones that I looked at and went, oh, I'd love to have that convertible. Oh, I'd love to have that convertible. Right. Oh, I'd love to have that convertible. But there are some cool cars in there. And then there's another great article in here. If you want to check that out, too, if you could pick up the book. They've got the article on the 1971 and 1974 AMC Javelin, which I still kind of look at as American Motors were putting out some fantastic cars at those times. The Rebel, the Machine, the Javelin, the AMX, all these cars. Yeah. And then they just kind of went bye-bye.
They did.
Yeah, it was really sad.
They just disappeared.
Yeah, because it was, and it was out of Kenosha, Wisconsin here. Yeah. But they had some great cars out there. So another great article on the Javelin. And then there's a neat article on here on the Oldsmobile XP 888 GT Little Long Shot. And it was actually a concept car that they made. Kind of followed the Corvette. But if you really look at the picture of the car, they got some black and white photographs in here of this Oldsmobile. If you look at the front of the car, this reminds me so much, because I owned one time, of the 1970 Camaro. If you look at it, I'm showing a star, though. Okay.
Yep,
the front end looks like a Camaro.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of took that idea later on and said, hey, we'll make this into a Camaro.
Right.
But check it out. This is a really, really cool book.
It is.
You got some great articles in there.
Yeah, they send it to us. They don't pay us any advertising for it. We just always like this magazine.
And a neat thing in here, too, they also have a section on here, Car Spotters.
Yeah.
Which they find cars all around the area, and they kind of show them, the cars that they saw sitting in fields and stuff. So, but check it out. Again, that's Collectible Automobile, December issue. So, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out right now, and because we need some time to hear this great interview with Don Garlitz. We'll be right back.
Chicken, make it out to Drag City. Yeah, I'm going to Drag City. What her do now? I'm going to Drag City. What'll she do now? I'm going to Drag City. Run her through now. I'm going to Drag City. What'll she do? Burn up that corner. The DJ is saying I'm my favorite station. The Drag City races are the fastest in the nation. Rails are the wildest and the stalkers are pretty. I'll get my honey, grab some money, split the Drag City. Well, I'm going to Drag City, running through now. I'm going to Drag City, what does she do now? I'm going to Drag City, run her through now. I'm going to Drag City, what does she do? Burn up that corner. Burning rubber thickets are spilling the air. The final tune's tacking up an action everywhere. Checkered flags, wheel stands, shoe sounds pretty. To hear the cheers, ring your ears out of Drag City. Yeah, I'm going to Drag City, running through now. I'm going to Drag City, what does she do now? I'm going to Drag City, run her through now. I'm going to Drag City, what does she do? Burn up that corner.
Hey, it's me, Big Boy, and I'm back with the original double-deck Big Boy Burger. And you can't forget the Big Boy Brownie Lad Burger. Our Big Boy menu will take you back into time with all your favorite Big Boy dishes. Let's hear from my boss and owner, Chaz Hastings. Hey, Chaz, what's it been like bringing Big Boy back to Wisconsin?
Well, Big Boy, it's been awesome. I got to tell you, after 26 years of not having Big Boy in Wisconsin, it's been incredible. And we couldn't be happier. And we just want to say thanks to all the guests that are coming in to enjoy this experience.
Thanks for bringing Big Boy back to Wisconsin.
That's Wisconsin Big Boy, 5 miles off the interstate in downtown Germantown on Main Street.
Hey, out of work and looking for a job? Performance Roofing Systems of Richfield, Wisconsin is hiring. We're looking for 2 types of positions. We're looking for flat roofers, which you assist in the removal and layout of new roofing systems, or we're looking for sheet metal installers, assist in the installation of sheet metal trim on buildings like soffits, fascias, gutters, and downspouts. Both positions are working outside, so where else can you get paid to get a tan and be outside also too? You must have the basic knowledge of hand tools, have a valid driver's license, be a team player, and again, no experience necessary because we will train. Starting wages are negotiable, raises after 60 days, and higher wages for experienced applicants. Remember, Performance Roofing System also has health, dental, and life insurance, 401k, and paid vacation time. So if you're looking for a job in a great place, so call Performance Roofing Systems at 262-628-3648 or visit us at 3830 Pioneer Road, Richfield, Wisconsin. That's Performance Roofing Systems.
A car is so much more than just a vehicle that helps you get from place to place. It's a hobby, a project, and a piece of art. let Ram Group help you create a one-of-a-kind wearable art piece through our dye sublimation printing process for your motorsports enthusiast. Dye sublimation is a process that uses heat to transfer dye onto a garment, creating extremely long-lasting, vibrant colors that will not deteriorate or fade over time. We proudly print, cut, and sew our garments in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with the majority of our core fabric coming from the United States. Our production team can take your own pictures and create a unique design with personalized text in the collar commemorating your vehicles. Please call Ram Group at 414-486-0450 and ask for Patrick Sturm, or send an email to patrick@ramgroupinc.com to learn more about getting started today. That's Patrick at RAM, R-A-M, as in Ram Truck, groupinc.com to get started. Or stop by and visit us at Ram Group, 301 West Vogel Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53207.
Hey friends, it's Bob from Ben & Coach, HotRodBuilders.com. How we all doing? Been a rugged couple years, hasn't it? Well, I'm here to tell you, we've been working on some of the coolest rides we've ever done, straight through the mess. Doing maintenance, paint jobs, drivetrain upgrades, chassis builds, complete restorations, and race car builds. We're doing it all. Do you have any needs? Chances are, if you do, we can help. See, we've been doing this kind of thing for folks for nearly 50 years now, and we're not going to let a little thing like the end of the world stop us. So, if you need a hand, we're here now and tomorrow to give a hand. That's Ben & Coach Works, HotRodBuilders.com at 1500 North Bellar Phillips Avenue, 2 blocks north of the world champion Buck Spicer Foreign. You can also call us at 414-298-2068. We do what others can't or shouldn't every day.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Hot Rod Radio. This is Arlo.
And this is Captain Bob, and here we are again on the Fonz FM and AM also, too.
That's right.
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to, so we have enough time here this morning, to play that great interview we did with Don Garlitz from Iola. So here we go.
Anybody knows anything about drag racing, Big Daddy Don Garlitz is sitting here with us this morning. We're having a great time with Big Daddy, that's for sure. You are the legend. You are the top guy in drag racing. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, that's what they say. I got in June of 1950, which the only drag racing going on at that time was in California. And a bunch of us guys went up to the local airport, which was abandoned from World War II, and got the city fathers to let us use it. And we had our first drag race. And there's no trophies, no clocks. We just painted 2 strips across the asphalt, and we raced all day and had a great time. And there were no dragsters or anything like that. It was just cars.
Yeah.
And that's where it was for many years. Of course, it's changed a lot since then, and I've seen all the changes, some good, some not so good. But it grew into a multi-million-dollar business, and if anyone had told me back then that they would eventually go 340 miles an hour in a quarter mile, I would have laughed in their face and said, "You're crazy. That's not possible."
Yeah.
But it was possible. And the only reason that they don't go a lot faster than that today is because there are some restrictive rules for obvious reasons. I mean, you can only go so fast in a certain piece of real estate, and most of these tracks were built when the cars ran 220 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And now they have no place to go. And that the NHRA has actually shut the big cars down to 1,000 feet for that very reason, because that gave them 300 feet of more real estate.
Yep.
And believe it or not, when you're in trouble on a drag strip at 300 miles an hour, an extra 300 feet is a lifesaver.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, you kind of mentioned you've seen all the changes, but you're one of the innovators over all the years that made a lot of those changes.
Right.
You made a lot of safety rules. You made a lot of different things that helped other drivers. I mean, you went from front-engine dragster to rear-engine dragster. You made all those different changes to make sure people were safe. I mean, that's why I think so many people are proud of you of what you've done.
Well, don't forget about myself. I was not to do other people safe,
and
but mostly myself safe.
Oh, okay.
That's very true.
Yeah.
But
well, there was a lot of things. I was always thinking out of the box.
Right.
And in other words, I didn't so much look at other people's cars except to compare their car to my car and try to imagine what would be in the future. And that's what I did at Cordova. I went to Cordova in 1957. I was just a kid, 145-mile-an-hour car in the 10s. And I'd won a lot of races at Kissimmee, Florida, my home track. And they sponsored me to the race, expense-paid trip. And that was $450. And believe it or not, that took us to Cordova for a week, and we had change left over when we come back. But at Cordova, I saw the California cars, I saw the Cook and Bedwell car, I saw Seto Pastorian's car from Detroit, and then my car. And they were all going up and down the drag strip. And I was thinking, what is the next step? And so I went home and I modified my car to what I thought was the next step. And it went 176 miles an hour. New world record. Put me on the map. And that run really gave me, I don't know, something inside that said, you can do this, and this is the way to go. And I got lots of phone calls, and I got appearances, and nobody got appearances in those days. Nobody traveled. There wasn't anybody that was well known. The Cook and Bedwell was the most famous car in the world from California, and they had actually hired him to come back for the World Series, but nobody else knew anybody. But, boy, I'll tell you, when I went 176 miles an hour and they put me on the cover of Drag News, it woke everybody up because that Drag News went out to all the drag strips in the country. That was their communication, and they had to get their stories into this paper about their race. And there was no national dragster at that time.
Right.
Just Drag News. And it was the Bible of drag racing. And to be on the cover of that paper, every drag strip in the United States took a look at that.
Yeah.
So they called me, and even though they kind of said, we ain't so sure about this time whether this is even possible, because in Detroit there was a world-famous SAE automotive engineer called Roger Huntington. Ever heard the name?
Yeah, I've heard the name. Yep.
He said, this is before computers, with a slide rule, that he had computed that the top speed in the quarter mile using rubber tires on pavement would be 169 miles an hour. That was the absolute limit. So Cook and Bedwell went 168.22. So that was okay. But not 176.
Right.
And so they figured either they made the time up, which was very unlikely because they didn't even know, the track didn't even know what I turned. They just had a time on the clock for the trap.
Right.
And they had to wait till Monday to call California where the clocks were made and said the car had a .50 on the clock. What does that calculate for speed? And they said, oh, my God, that's 176.4.
Wow.
So they didn't even know. So they didn't make it up. They just saw what was on the clock. Ed Eskandarian actually called me, and they called him first because I had an Esky cam.
Yeah.
The Crondex called Esky and said, your boy went 176 miles an hour with your Esky 5-cycle cam. So the story's getting real long, but it's funny.
No, this is a great story. Great story.
All the strips then began to call me. What's it going to take to get you over here? And the first one was Wichita Falls, Texas. We're having a big meet here. We'd like to have you come down here and race. I said, look, I have a shop, and we're open almost 7 days a week. And I said, we have to make a living, my brother and I. If we're not here, we're not making any money. Right. They said, well, what would it take? How much will we have to give you to come here? I said, $450. And we'll close the shop on Friday and Monday.
Yeah.
And we'll drive straight through, do the race, straight through back. They said, that's a deal. So I went down there. I didn't run 170, but I did run 167, which 10 miles an hour faster than anybody else. I won the race. I had low ET. And then Union Grove called me.
Yep, Bob Mensler, yep.
That was the next one. And I ran Union Grove for 30-some years after that.
Yeah.
For Bob Metzler.
Yeah.
And it just went on from there. And a lot of places I went, and it was so funny because the one that was the worst, the Californians hated it the worst because they hated anybody from the East taking their glory. And a cute side story to the California races was I went out in December of 59 and won the great big Riverside race. They lined the California cars up on one side, and I picked them off one at a time. And at the end of the day, I got $7,500, which was tremendous money.
Yeah.
Well, you could buy a whole home for that then, brand new. And I came back to Florida, and I'd heard a lot about this guy over there called Smokey Unick.
Smokey.
He was supposed to be this genius in automobile, and I didn't know nothing. I just heard the rumors, So I put the car on the trailer, and it's towing with an old 50 Cadillac, but it wasn't an old 50 Cadillac. It was a car I had built for the Moonshiners with a real special motor in it that would run 100 miles an hour sustained. So they could run away from the revenue. And they never come to get it. So I had a mechanic's lien title on this car. And that's what we went to California. We set the world record, which I just heard the other day was broken. We went from Los Angeles to Tampa in 54 hours before interstate.
Wow.
And somebody just recently did it in 48 hours.
Wow.
But they had interstate. So anyway, I drove over to Smokey Unick's garage, the best damn garage in town up on the building. I was really surprised to see that because in those days they didn't use cuss words very much. And I went in, and the lady on the counter, I said, "Is Mr. Unick here?" And he said, "Yeah, he's back there." So I went back there, and the door was open. He was sitting there. I knocked on the door, and he never even looked up. He just said, "Come in." And I walked in, and he looked up at me, and I said, "I'm Don Garlitz." And he said, "I've heard of you." And I said, "I got my car out here, Mr. Unick. I just outrun all the Californians in Riverside. I won $7,500, and I brought it over. I want to show it to you." And you would be surprised how many people stop at my museum every month that want to race somewhere and want me to go out and look at it. And I always go out and look at the car because Mr. Unick got right up from his desk and said, "I want to see that car." And he walked out to the parking lot, and he walked around the car, and he looked at me, and he said, "It looks like you built the trailer and the car with a buzz box. This is an open trailer now. This is before closed trailer."
Yeah.
And I said, "I did, and I still have that buzz box that's in the museum." And he said, "What do you tow it with?" I said, "This 50 Cadillac." He said, "Where do you keep the tools and everything?" And I raised the trunk, and there was a 392 short block and a small box of tools. Now, remember, I ran 9 cars in an afternoon and never took anything apart. It could have been live TV. See, they made it so much better. He says, "Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back."
Yeah.
And I was wondering, what's he doing? What's he talking about? So he's going about 10 minutes. He comes back, and he has a business envelope, a used one. And on the back side of the envelope, it's a guy's name, a telephone number, and Flint, Michigan. He said, "You and Art get in the Cadillac, drive up to Flint, Michigan. There's a brand-new GMC carryall waiting for you in your name."
Whoa.
I was stunned.
Yeah.
I've just met this man.
Yeah.
I said, "Mr. Unick, are you kidding?" This almost brings tears to my eyes. He said, "I never kid." He said, "Anybody that could take a piece of crap like this and go to California and beat those slickers up there with all that fancy machinery deserves a better tow truck than this old Cadillac." And we became lifelong friends because he only had a daughter. He never had any boys. And I became like his son through the years. I did everything with him. He paid my way to all the PRI shows, and I would sit on the front and answer questions. The breakfast.
Yep.
He ran the breakfast at the PRI show for years and years. And I have to tell, this is such a funny story. They would have they had a roving mic,
Okay.
and they'd stick it in somebody's face, and they'd say, "This question's for Don Garlitz," or "This question's for Mario Andretti," or "This question's for A.J. Foyt." He had all the famous guys. And this old lady stood up. Old lady, she's about 40, but I was young, right? And she said, "Mr. Unick, this question's for you." And his second wife was this real good-looking blonde that looked like Mae West. Did you ever see her?
Oh yeah.
Margie.
Yes.
She says, "I want to know what a good-looking woman like Margie sees in an old fart like you." I'm telling you, you could have heard a pin drop in that room. Nobody knew what was going to happen.
Right.
And he says, "Ma'am, come on up to the stage." And so she starts up to the stage. And she gets just about far from those people right there from the stage.
Yeah.
And he says, "You step on up here, and we're going to step behind this curtain right here, and I'm going to show you." They laughed for 5 minutes, and Margie's face turned blood red. That was my Smokey. And I loved him.
Oh, he was a great guy too.
Yeah.
He hated NASCAR.
You know-
He did everything about him.
Yeah.
So when he was getting ready, he knew he was going to die. He started giving me all kinds of stuff. I got his personal dyno.
Oh wow.
I got his gasoline machine. I got his smoke thun. I had pick of all the engines. He had a rule. If he built your engine and you won the big race, he got the engine back and you never saw it again.
Oh.
Well, most people didn't want it anyway because it's probably wore out,
Yeah.
So he had all these engines. I got the shotgun Ford motor that Milwaukee drove to victory in Milwaukee in 1969. I got the Crossley that won the first Sebring. I got the 54 Hudson that Herb Thomas won Darlington with in 54. I got the 55 Chevy that Herb Thomas won Darlington in 55. I got the engine on the dyno, the big block Chevy that Chevrolet said, "We want to go Can-Am racing. Get us 600 horsepower." So he got to 600 horsepower, and he told them, "You might as well forget about going Can-Am racing. This piece of crap is too heavy. They'll never make it in the turns." So they just made aluminum motors, and they went Can-Am racing. I got the Buick. He took a Buick nailhead and got 600 horse for Buick that was going to go NASCAR racing, but they never actually got around to it. I got that motor. And
they're all down at the museum.
All in my museum.
All in the museum. I know. I've been there. A great museum.
All there for everybody to look at and enjoy. He was a great guy. I loved him.
All righty, so we're going to cut it right there right now because we're going to take a quick commercial break, give our sponsors a little airtime here. When we come back, we'll be back with some more of Don Garlitz.
A car is so much more than just a vehicle that helps you get from place to place. It's a hobby, a project, and a piece of art. Let Ram Group help you create a one-of-a-kind wearable art piece through our dye sublimation printing process for your motorsports enthusiast. Dye sublimation is a process that uses heat to transfer dye onto a garment, creating extremely long-lasting, vibrant colors that will not deteriorate or fade over time. We proudly print, cut, and sew our garments in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with the majority of our core fabric coming from the United States. Our production team can take your own pictures and create a unique design with personalized text in the collar commemorating your vehicles. Please call Ram Group at 414-486-0450 and ask for Patrick Sturm, or send an email to patrick@ramgroupinc.com to learn more about getting started today. That's Patrick at RAM, R-A-M, as in Ram Truck, groupinc.com to get started. Or stop by and visit us at Ram Group, 301 West Vogel Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53207.
Shop the Midwest leader for genuine GM performance parts, engines, and transmissions. GMPerformanceMotor.com. Browse hundreds of engines in stock. Our huge Green Bay, Wisconsin warehouse maintains an insanely large inventory of GM performance parts at the best prices. Plus, engines and transmissions ship free to neighboring states. Take advantage of hot monthly specials. It's easy, secure, and you'll find exactly what you need online today at GMPerformanceMotor.com.
Hey, cats and kittens, it's Bob from Ben & Coach, HotRodBuilders.com. Car show season's winding down on what can be said to have been one of the best seasons we've had in a long time. I just wanted to let you know that if you found yourself wanting some work done on that ride, be it some minor upgrades or repairs to all-up build-ups, we're here to help. We have a long history with thousands of cars serviced, built, and on the road. Many of those folks are our good friends now, and we'd like to help you with your dream as well. Because if you dream it, chances are we can make it real for you. So come take the nickel tour and see what we're doing for others in the car community. Then see what we can do for you. That's Ben & Coach Works, HotRodBuilders.com at 1500 North Bel-Air Phillips Avenue, 2 blocks north of the world champion Buck Spicer Forum. You can also call us at 414-298-2068. We do what others can't or shouldn't every day.
Hey, out of work and looking for a job? Performance Roofing Systems of Richfield, Wisconsin is hiring. We're looking for 2 types of positions. We're looking for flat roofers, which you assist in the removal and layout of new roofing systems, or we're looking for sheet metal installers, assist in the installation of sheet metal trim on buildings like soffits, fascias, gutters, and downspouts. Both positions are working outside, so where else can you get paid to get a tan and be outside also too? You must have the basic knowledge of hand tools, have a valid driver's license, be a team player, and again, no experience necessary because we will train. Starting wages are negotiable, raises after 60 days, and higher wages for experienced applicants. Remember, Performance Roofing System also has health, dental, and life insurance, 401k, and paid vacation time. So if you're looking for a job in a great place, so call Performance Roofing Systems at 262-628-3648 or visit us at 3830 Pioneer Road, Richfield, Wisconsin. That's Performance Roofing Systems.
Hey, it's me, Big Boy, and I am back with the original double-deck Big Boy Burger. So now let's hear from my boss and owner, Chaz Hastings, how you can tell us how to bring Big Boy home.
Well, Big Boy, there's many ways our guests can take you home. They can do the online carry-out ordering, and then we also have all the memorabilia. We have everything from the iconic banks that go back over 50 years of piggy banks. We have pop sockets for your phone. We have T-shirts, including our featured T-shirt that has a 59 convertible Cadillac on the back of it. We have coffee mugs. We have flags. We have magnets. We have keychains. Just a number of different things that are super cool that every Big Boy fan would love to add to their collection.
So stop by Big Boy and have a burger and stir up a chocolate shake just like in the old days.
That's Wisconsin Big Boy, 5 miles off the interstate in downtown Germantown on Main Street.
The hits radio forgot, but you still love. 100.3 and 107.3 Bonds FM.
Go ahead, baby, stand on it. When I went in down,
Hey, welcome back to Wisconsin Hot Rod Radio. This is Cam Bob.
And Marlo.
And here we are on the Fonz FM and AM2.
That's right.
And so what we're going to do now, play that second half of Don Garlitz. Here we go.
Is there a truth behind, I had heard at one point, Smokey, when he was out NASCAR racing, he got disqualified because he was running fuel inside the roll bars, so he had a little extra fuel to be in there? Is there any rumor to that?
No.
Truth to that?
You're talking about the time when he went too far without a gasoline change.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a great big hose.
Right.
The line from the tank to the fuel pump curled under the car and held about 5 gallons. And there was no rule about that line, only the gas tank.
Gotcha.
So he won the race, and he didn't stop enough, and they knew there was something wrong, so they impounded the car. They took the gas tank out of the car and set it up on the bench, and for hours and hours they measured it and looked at it and put lights inside of it with those cameras, you know, you can look and everything. Couldn't see nothing. And Smokey finally got tired. He said, how long are you guys going to be here? He said, until we figure out what went wrong. What happened? He said, would you mind if I took the car back to the garage?
Yeah.
No, go ahead. And they just got in, started up, drove back to the garage. There was plenty of gas in the fuel line.
With no tank, right? Yeah.
Of course, they knew what happened. But they had to let it go because they didn't have a rule. They had to make a rule then real quick.
That's funny.
I have the Pontiac Pharaoh. He got the 54 miles to the gallon. The hot paper car. I have that too.
Wow. We had heard a funny story from TV Tommy Ivo. He had said, you hate him to this day because as they were pushing you up to the line to fire over one of the swamp rats, and he was already up there, idling away, as you kicked over the engine, all this confetti and everything came out of your pipes, got shooting out because he stuck all kinds of stuff in your pipes. Is there any truth into that? Yeah, TV said something.
It's a match race?
Yeah, it was a match race, yeah.
And something came out of my pipes?
Out of your pipes. He put all confetti and stuff into your pipes.
What?
All kinds of confetti.
Paper
in there.
No, he did that.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he did that, right, yeah.
He was always doing that silly stuff. What I used to do, if I had a really tough competitor, I would pour some STP in one of the pipes.
Ooh.
And now you would push start it, and it wouldn't do anything at first, but the STP kind of stuck all in the pipe. But then, as the motor started to warm up, that cylinder would really start to smoke.
Oh, boy.
Like crazy.
And you would look at the competitor, and you'd look over, and you see a big cylinder smoke, and you figure, hey, it's going to be easy. He's got a hole out, see? And, of course, there was no hole out. And so what it caused him to do is not push the light too much, and just kind of ease on it, not try to spin the tires, and it usually cost them the race. I didn't do that very much, but it was a common practice amongst a lot of the top competitors.
Yeah.
So you never knew if you looked over if one was smoking, whether it was for real or it was a trick,
Now, you're one of the innovators also, too, of an electric dragster, correct? You had built an electric dragster at one point, an electric motor.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
In 2000, Daryl Gwynn, who got hurt seriously and is a quadriplegic. In 2000, they got together, some of his friends, and they built an electric go-kart that looked like a dragster like he used to race. And they took it to Indianapolis on Saturday night, and they put it under wraps, and they rolled Daryl up to the starting line, and they unwrapped it, and they gave his dragster to him. And the roll cage was just on there with hose clamps. Just clamped on. They took the roll cage off, and a couple of men lifted Daryl up, set him in the dragster, put the roll cage on, and he puts down the dragster. But just had that one little control. There was no pedals, no steering wheel, just that wheelchair control. Yeah. And he puts down the drag strip 10 or 15 miles an hour, and it wasn't a dry eye in the house. So Daryl got the idea that we should build two of these cars and in the future and compete at NHRA's national events, doing a 2 out of 3 match race at select events, and raise money for the Spinal Cord Injury Foundation.
Okay.
And so Mike Gary, who had built the exonerated golf cart, built 2 dragsters. And we intended to go about 100 miles an hour. But Daryl was not able to control the car properly with that, what I call it, a wobble stick. Yeah. It was just too sensitive. He'd move it and it'd drive off the drag strip. They couldn't get that working right. So we had to keep taking batteries out of these cars until it got them down to about 30 miles an hour. And then he was able to race. And we did a 2 out of 3 match race at 10 select races and raised over $1 million for the foundation. And then we took the 2 cars to the Barrett Jackson and sold them for another $250,000, and that went to charity. But it always troubled me that we had to slow them down. I would love to win 100 miles an hour. The 30 miles an hour and a quarter-mile run is not very much of. See, my original car, my 44s, ran 85, Mm-hmm. So I said to Mike Gary, just kind of like in a joke, I said, how fast do you think we could go with one of these things if we took the gloves off? He said, it might be possible to go 200 miles an hour. I said, let's build
That's all you needed to hear.
So Swamp Rat 37 was built.
Yeah.
And we did go. We raised the record quickly. It was 150-some in the quarter. We quickly raised it to 170, 175, 184, and 185. And that's where we hit the brick wall. We had a car that was built. It was 2,300 pounds, me going to the line, and most of that weight was 750 pounds of batteries in there. So the battery technology was changing all the time. This was 6 years ago.
Right.
And so I decided, and this car was based on a 300-mile-an-hour top fuel car. I thought, why do we need a 300-mile-an-hour top fuel car to go 200 miles an hour? Swamp Rat 14 would be good for that. So I copied my Swamp Rat 14. We built a car in my shop, and it was raced. It went to the line at 1,500 pounds. The battery technology had changed at that point. The battery is only 250 pounds, the same voltage. We quickly went 189 miles an hour on a test run. And so now we get ready to go the 200 miles an hour. The car leaves like a rocket, and a hub breaks.
Oh, boy.
We made our own hubs, and they were an exotic hub with some real exotic weld on there called Eutectic 680, which I had been using for years and years on my chassis. You can't touch it with a file or a mill or nothing. It is a really strong weld. That weld failed on this hub, and I couldn't believe it. I took a file and I ran across the weld, the broken weld, and it was like butter. I said, oh, my God. I called up the company, and they had been outsourced to Canada from the United States. And from Canada, they'd outsourced it to China.
Oh.
And they said, we've been having some trouble with that. I said, it's more than just trouble. I said, it's totally worthless. Don't sell any more of it. So we made some new hubs with different welds, and we're ready to go. And here comes the coronavirus.
Oh, yeah.
And everything parked. And during that period of time, a guy in Spokane, Steve Huff, went 201 miles an hour with his electric dragster and became the first guy over 200. And then that took more of the wind out of my sails. And I thought, well, there's no rush now. And then the battery technology is getting ready to take a major change. It's going to go to quantum glass. And when you have quantum glass batteries, they're lighter, more powerful. The charge lasts longer. To give you an example, a quantum glass battery in a Tesla would drive from Florida to California and back on one charge.
Wow.
And it charges in 8 minutes. But there is an elephant in the room.
Okay. There's got to be always something there, right?
That when you charge that battery that much, your cables that run the charger are going to be an inch in diameter, copper. The charging stations that are out there now will be totally worthless.
Yeah.
And that's why this battery hasn't been introduced. I don't know where this technology come from, but I got an idea. You know, the little...
The space guy over there?
Well, you know, they're starting to release some of this information.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Pentagon's telling us.
You're talking about aliens?
There, right?
You're talking about aliens?
So anyway, this technology is completely ahead of everything we know in our infrastructure.
Yeah.
There's no charging station you can charge it. I mean, it all has to be special. You'll have to have your own transformer and everything. So it's a wonderful battery. It's just we're not equipped to handle it yet. And so there's not been a big rush. But from my personal standpoint, I don't want to spend $150,000 on another battery for my car, not get the good one.
Right.
But even the good ones, I had the strips that I went and had to have a special 220 pole put in for me.
Just for you, yeah.
To charge
the
batteries. You can't just plug into a
110. 110, yeah.
And charge one of these, a 4,000-watt battery, 400 volts. So there is an elephant in the room. But I'm sure it's all going to be dealt with in the future. So that is why, the 200's been broken. So now I'm concentrating on the 250-mile-an-hour electric dragster.
That figures, yep.
And I'm probably going to partner with Summit Racing because they're big into this electric vehicle.
Oh, they are?
Yep.
And also I'm going to partner some with Holley, because Holley is going to build kits to convert, like your 32 Ford. You can buy a kit in your 32 Ford to be an electric vehicle.
What? Really? Yeah.
They're going to make a lot of money with that, because there's going to be an awful lot of people going to love to have their 40 Ford or whatever all electrified.
Really?
And Holley's going to be on the leading edge of that technology. So between Summit and Holley, and I have a good relationship with both these companies. And, of course, Holley actually helped me on the Swamp Rat 38. It did go 189 miles an hour, which was the record at the time. And they're really nice people. Oh. And so that's the electric story up to now.
Very good.
Probably 2022, I'll be back on it big time.
Fantastic. Very good.
And
well, Don, we're going to cut you short here because we know you've got to be back out there with your fans.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people here that want to see you, that's for sure.
Well, we could go on here forever.
Oh,
probably.
we'd love to. We'd love to. We've had you on the show before. We enjoy your, being on the show, but today we've got a lot of people who want to see you. We've got people out here that are watching you. That's great.
I'm looking out there at the fleecy white clouds and the blue skies. It could be better day to come out and see your cars. I walked around this morning. There's some really, really great cars here.
Yeah.
Stuff that I just love, I lived it. I lived through all these cars. I was born in 1932, so I remember a lot about automobiles because I always loved automobiles.
Yeah.
That's cool. Again, thank you, Don, for being here. Let's see, all your fans are going to be out there at your booth right now. You're going to be doing Crackle Fest a little later on, doing some crackling, right? With your
Always
dragster?
a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Don.
All righty. Hopefully you enjoyed that great interview.
Mm-hmm.
If you heard it in there, he believes in spaceships.
You have to know.
Yeah.
In Iola, where we were by the tower, they put
two aliens.
One up on top of the tower and one across from us. And he kept looking at those.
Yes.
It freaked him out. Yeah.
So he talked about the glass
the guy defies death every time he goes down the track.
Right, yeah.
But green people bother him.
Green people
good
bother
interview,
me.
though. Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do is, now, next week we want you to tune in also, too, because we're going to do the interview with Ian Russell and his wife, Jamie, when we were at Iola. And speaking of aliens, you must live you have to live in the desert, I guess. Yeah.
Well, his shirt has a spaceship on it. So
that's true, yeah. So, all right, we're going to cut it for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
I bought myself a Coupe de Ville, louvers on the fender, leg pipes going down the side to make the girls surrender. I had it nosed and decked and chopped, 1 inch from the ground. Well, I wanted nothing but to have the sharpest ride in town. Yes, I spent my paycheck. Lord, I lay my money down. Lay my money down. Lay my money down. Well, they say I own my car, but it's the other way around. Lay my money down. Lay my money down. $3,000 on the paint job, $4,000 on the mill, $2,000 on a custom welded powder coated grill. My refrigerator's empty and my pantry is a joke. Just to buy the gasoline, I am going broke. Yes, I spend my paycheck. Lord, I lay my money down. Lay my money down. Lay my money down. Well, they say I own my car, but it's the other way around. Lay my money down. Lay my money down. Hey, man, this was a bad ride.
Well, sure got some beautiful wheels, man.
I don't know, man.
How much you pay for that thing, man?
Ain't no telling.
He don't get all that shit. He probably stole the thing, man.
No, man, it's too low to the ground. He can't even legal. He got to be legal.
He ain't got no more money either now.
He got a girl in the back seat, dude. My cam is custom ground. The chrome is solid gold. Well, I'm sleeping on the floor because my furniture's been sold. Now take a listen, hot rod boy, from lessons I have learned. Don't play around with cars unless you got the cash to burn. Lord, I spend my paycheck. Lord, I lay my money down. Lay my money down. Lay my
Shop the Midwest leader for genuine GM performance parts, engines, and transmissions. GMPerformanceMotor.com. Browse hundreds of engines in stock. Our huge Green Bay, Wisconsin warehouse maintains an insanely large inventory of GM performance parts at the best prices. Plus, engines and transmissions ship free to neighboring states. Take advantage of hot monthly specials. It's easy, secure, and you'll find exactly what you need online today at GMPerformanceMotor.com.
Hey, it's me, Big Boy, and I'm back with the original double-deck Big Boy Burger. Now let's hear from my boss and the owner, Chaz Hastings. Tell us about the atmosphere in my house.
Well, Big Boy, it's incredible because we do have the world's largest collection of Big Boy iconic statues. We have everything from the Minion to Gene Simmons to James Bond, Charles Woodson, the Fonz. We have a huge number of statues, everything from 9 inches to 12 feet. And if you go outside into our beer garden, you'll see the world's only Bavarian Lederhosen Big Boy, where you can also get the Big Boy Burger.
Wow, a lot of great memories from Big Boy.
That's Wisconsin Big Boy, 5 miles off the interstate in downtown Germantown on Main Street.
Hey friends, it's Bob from Ben & Coach, HotRodBuilders.com. How we all doing? Been a rugged couple years, hasn't it? Well, I'm here to tell you, we've been working on some of the coolest rides we've ever done, straight through the mess. Doing maintenance, paint jobs, drivetrain upgrades, chassis builds, complete restorations, and race car builds. We're doing it all. Do you have any needs? Chances are, if you do, we can help. See, we've been doing this kind of thing for folks for nearly 50 years now, and we're not going to let a little thing like the end of the world stop us. So, if you need a hand, we're here now and tomorrow to give a hand. That's Ben & Coach Works, HotRodBuilders.com at 1500 North Bellar Phillips Avenue, 2 blocks north of the world champion Buck Spicer Forum. You can also call us at 414-298-2068. We do what others can't or shouldn't every day.
Hey, out of work and looking for a job? Performance Roofing Systems of Richfield, Wisconsin is hiring. We're looking for 2 types of positions. We're looking for flat roofers, which you assist in the removal and layout of new roofing systems, or we're looking for sheet metal installers, assist in the installation of sheet metal trim on buildings like soffits, fascias, gutters, and downspouts. Both positions are working outside, so where else can you get paid to get a tan and be outside also too? You must have the basic knowledge of hand tools, have a valid driver's license, be a team player, and again, no experience necessary because we will train. Starting wages are negotiable, raises after 60 days, and higher wages for experienced applicants. Remember, Performance Roofing System also has health, dental, and life insurance, 401k, and paid vacation time. So if you're looking for a job in a great place, so call Performance Roofing Systems at 262-628-3648 or visit us at 3830 Pioneer Road, Richfield, Wisconsin. That's Performance Roofing Systems.
A car is so much more than just a vehicle that helps you get from place to place. It's a hobby, a project, and a piece of art. Let Ram Group help you create a one-of-a-kind wearable art piece through our dye sublimation printing process for your motorsports enthusiast. Dye sublimation is a process that uses heat to transfer dye onto a garment, creating extremely long-lasting, vibrant colors that will not deteriorate or fade over time. We proudly print, cut, and sew our garments in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with the majority of our core fabric coming from the United States. Our production team can take your own pictures and create a unique design with personalized text in the collar commemorating your vehicles. Please call Ram Group at 414-486-0450 and ask for Patrick Sturm, or send an email to patrick@ramgroupinc.com to learn more about getting started today. That's Patrick at Ram, R-A-M, as in Ram Truck, groupinc.com to get started. Or stop by and visit us at Ram Group, 301 West Vogel Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53207.
welcome back to Wisconsin Hot Rod Radio. This is Arlo.
And this is Captain Bob, and here we are again on the Fonz FM and AM2.
Yep.
So hopefully you enjoyed that great interview with Don Garlitz.
He's a cool guy.
He is cool.
Yeah.
So again, like we said, tune in next week because we're going to be doing Ian Russell and Jamie.
Yeah, that's
another great interview.
Yeah, no one's heard from Jamie. I mean, I think we're the only ones that had an interview with the two of them. Jamie is his wife.
That's very, yes.
And she sat right next to him, and it was kind of a fun. They're kind of a cute couple.
They are very. So, you know, I got to tell you that it is getting, like we said, into October, and things are going to be changing. Mm-hmm. People are going to be looking someplace to store.
Yeah, we're recommending that you go to Rybar Storage LLC. It's down in the south of Oak Creek, Racine area. It's very easy to get to. They get cold and warm storage. I don't have the pricing right now, but it's very reasonable.
Yep.
That's where the Wisconsin Radio van goes to. My 41 goes to. So what you can do is give Brian a call at Rybar, 262-672-1967, and tell him Wisconsin Howard Radio sent you.
Cool.
There you go.
All righty, so now Wisconsin Big Boy Classics.
Yes.
Which their classic cruise nights are still going on Wednesdays,
That's right.
as long as the weather is there.
Yep.
But they're also going to tell us right now what's going on this weekend.
Right. Okay, so what's going to happen this weekend? Stuff is still happening. We have the Ovid Car Show, and people are going, Ovid, where's it? O-V-I-D.
Yeah. I looked at that one, too, and I was like, where is this they're sending this from?
It's in New York.
New York.
They sent it to us from there. Yeah, why not, right?
Cool.
All makes and models and years to benefit mobility working to provide cars to people that need to work. We also have Caffeine and Chrome still going down there in Kenosha area at the Gateway Classics. The Grand Slam NNL has been canceled.
Yeah.
Man, that was in Johnstown, Wisconsin. That's cool, that place.
Yeah.
Or the things that they do. We have the Dundee Fall Color Car Craft Show and Cruise 2021. Dundee Sports Park in Dundee, Wisconsin. We have the annual Shutterbug Scale Model Nationals, and that's happening in Portland, Indiana. It's going on today. We also have the Oktoberfest out there in Wisconsin, Harley-Davidson in Conomowoc, Wisconsin. We have the Nick Casely Rocking Car Show. That sounds kind of cool. Hosted by the Williams Bay Lions Car Club and Marquee Car Club as well. That's going to be up in Williams Bay, Wisconsin. Way, way up there. It's going to hit next. Don't forget, you can go to WisconsinHowardRadio.com, click on the events calendar at the top. Countryside Classics Fall Dyno Car Show is going to be happening in Elkhorn. Walnicks Woodstock Motorcycle and Car Swap. This is going to be in Woodstock, Illinois. We also have, tomorrow, we have the Swap Meet. That's going to be happening in West Bend. We have the Diecast Collectors Club. That's going to be happening in Franklin, Wisconsin. And just keep checking for the cruise nights throughout the rest of the week.
Now, that one in West Bend.
Yeah.
Is that the one that our good friend, your son, is running?
My son?
Yeah.
Which one?
Arlo Jr.?
It could be. I'm gonna look. Yeah, it could be. It's at the Schaefer VW Post in West Bend, Wisconsin, Sand Drive.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of my juniors.
Yeah,
yes.
Big Don wants to let everybody know that all the proceeds are going to go back to the VFW Post also, too, to help them. So come on out there and bring out your stuff to sell or just have a good time there.
The reason I hesitated, there's a lot of juniors out there.
I know.
And Don's one of them that says, where's my child support payments?
So, you know, I'm going to tell everybody, too, check out our website, too, for all the things that are for sale there.
Yeah.
We've got, obviously, Dave and Donna Bjorgi. They're selling that 1940 Chevrolet Street Rod, beautiful Street Rod. We also have Dave Kuhmanner out there selling that 1950 Chevy truck. So we got a lot of different vehicles on our website, too. Check it out. If you're looking for a vehicle to buy now, be ready for spring. You'll be ready to go, that's for sure.
That's right.
So, and again, thanks to everybody that helps sponsor the show. Gandred High Performance, Bennett Coachworks, Performance Roofing, Ram, and Big Boy. So check them all out because these are the people that make the show possible.
Yeah.
So we got to say, tune in again next week. Ian Russell and Jamie. Otherwise, we got to say...
What?
We're almost out of time right now. So be there.
Or be square.
We're out of here.
You changed it on me.
I changed it on you.
Out of here.
All right, we're out of here.
Thank you for tuning in to Wisconsin Hot Rod Radio. Be sure to tune in again next Saturday at 9 a.m. for more Wisconsin Hot Rod Radio. In the meantime, visit us on the internet at www.wisconsinhotrodradio.com.